Hello guys. Um, okay. I don't know if it's been communicated yet. Let me check. Hello. So I'll be doing this stream today to speak about how we can do game development in Webaverse. I think I'll still wait a bit for people to come. Basically, I want to show you how to get started. I want to show you initially a scene so that you can see basically what's possible with Webaverse. So I'll show you this scene. And after that, I'll simply show you how it's been built, and then we'll build like a simple scene together. And I'll show you some template files as well that I have made. So this is like kind of the overall plan for today. But I think, yeah, I think I'll still wait a bit for people to come. But for those who are already here, we could play a bit to see. Let me just move the noise. Tell me guys if you don't hear me or if you have like problems hearing stuff. But yeah, so basically the WOSs are the WOSs are the 3D WOSs are produced. That will soon be available for everyone. And basically these WOSs are VRMs, which mean that these are avatars that you can use in various platforms. You know, this is the same avatar that I'm using right now and that I have with whom I'm playing right now. It's the same file. But yeah, so basically for the people that join in, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a scene on Web App. I'm going to show you basically how it's made, and we'll build a scene together, and I'll show you like the basic setup for this. I don't know if I can start yet. Let me just ask. The scene that you see here is not the whole scene, of course. It's actually a game. I've showcased this game before for the people who were there. It was like maybe a month ago before the launch. And for the web launch, voice is a bit low. How is it now? Is it better? Is it better, sir? Okay, I hope it's better. I'm going to push it to the max. We'll see. Nice. Okay, so perfect. What I want to do now is basically starting to show you this scene. So what we do is that we enter. So it's basically a mini game. And so this was all built in Weber, and I'm going to show you after that how it's been made. Oh shit, I lost here because I moved, so I need to do it again. And as you can see, the the red spheres here indicates that I'm back to 0. So I'm going to try and win this time. Oh shit. I moved again. You're gonna see the logic of it. I'm going to show you basically what is the logic of that, but I'm cheating a bit because I'm a big noob. Okay, so I made it to scene 1. Can go to scene 2. As you can see, it's the same. I'm not gonna die here because if I die, I should start it all over again. So I'm just going to show you the end. And here, basically, we have a last scene to show you some things up. Yeah. So basically, this whole experience, let's say, was built using Blender and 3JS. So I kind of want to show you what is the overall setup to make such a scene, and after that we'll create one. So basically the overall setup, if you look at the Blender file, so Blender is the 3D modeling software. You will need a 3D software to do stuff on Webaverse, and Blender is open source, so it's great. And basically the various levels are all inside these boxes. So when you are at the start, actually you are here, which is this place. And if I but if I hide, here you see the initial place. And this is actually the file that was used to make the place. So this is the initial place that you see with the various, let's say, posters. And basically, once you, so how it works is that once you walk there, remember I walked to this point here. And so this point here is like an empty game object that we're going to give it a name. and we're going to point to this name using JavaScript to make the game logic. So basically, these are all the static files, and we'll make the game logic in the end using JavaScript. But we can kind of have the overall setup visualized so that when you want to create an experience, you want to have like one file in which you put all of the experience, and you want to reference the object and the stuff with using objects that are actually invisible in Webaverse. So it makes the whole simpler rather than, for instance, having to position each element using the Webaverse configuration scene file, which can be a bit tedious if you wanna iterate on it. Okay, so we've seen the first place. The second place, I guess it was here. Oh no, it's not here. Oh no, this is actually the first place, the initial. No, this is the place where you fall. And actually, what happens is that when I walked in there, I just basically I've been teleported to this place, and then you fall to here, which you see you have lots of clouds and stuff like that. So you fall to here, and after that you can walk, and you see there is another entrance at this place. So this entrance, that is, if you look at its name actually, because it has a name. It's their name. Yeah, it's called main door because I'm going to use it as a main door. So we need to use the main door. So it's the main door. And then what we do is that we basically, oh no, it's not here, but we basically arrive here exactly. We arrive here to do the let's say the shrimp game, and then we arrive here to do the last game. Let's say it was not the last, but it was like before the last. And here you have the final place, which is here. So instead of having, like, for instance, 4 separate scenes, we have like one big scene in which we put everything, and it enables to do the game logic. And yeah, basically having like this vertical world, or you could do horizontally, of course. I want to say that this whole setup, so the whole design, it was from me, but the idea of the setup and the actual game logic of the scene that you've seen, especially the logic for this part, was mostly open source. I didn't code, I haven't coded like the interactions, like the way this character will point at you, and that if you move, you die. I didn't coded it. I basically used open source code that is available, that the dev of Weber have developed. So you can actually like integrate things that you've seen in Weber, and you can integrate it easily in another scene. You'll see because we're using code that can be easily reused and so on. So yeah, so this is the scene, and if we look now at what it looks like in Webaverse. This scene is actually called What's Up? And if we look at how it's made, don't bother with the complexity of this right now, but because we're going to do a simple scene just after, without all of this stuff, and just to show you the base. But basically, this is the overall scene. So you have some avatars, or you have a mirror at one point. You have some water that is put that we've shown in the second scene, and the whole let's say environment is here. So the whole environment is just this, which is these lines. The other lines are just small elements in the scene, but basically what makes the whole scene is this one. So the what's up. So it's in plotted asset what's up. So let's go there. Let's say, and it's in what's up, as you can see. And basically what we see is that if we go to the metaverse file, which is the point towards which it points, we start at the index.js. I'm going to show you all the logic, how does it work, but this is the way I can find how it was made, how I made it. And as you can see, so it points to an index.js that has all the logic for the scene. and that actually imports the Blender file, because this one we would have exported this as a GLB file. All of the elements are exported as a GLB file. This GLB file is found here, and from there we can apply all of the logic that is needed to do this game. So you see that this game is like 700 lines of code. So it's not like overly complex, but it's complex, but it's still complex. We're not going to do something as complex as this right now, but simply like a scene with, for instance, we'll put a cube or something like that, but just to show you that we can reference the objects and we can reference the names. And that is actually feasible. But this is like kind of the end results when you put this learning into, for instance, a scene. Okay, so let's go. Let's create actually a scene in Weber using this technique. What we're going to use is some templates that I have written for this. So in that you can actually reuse directly. So you can find these templates here. Oh, I can't. Okay, so basically the link is here. So it's, oh, you can see. Let me. So I can't write in the chat stream because I don't have. I'm not on an account right now. Basically, this is where you want to go. So basically, it's GitHub, and you go on My Profile, Plateaus, and then you go in Webaverse templates. So we're here. So in this templates, basically, there's two things I will use. So there's the scenes that I will use, and there are the custom assets. There are some that I will use, and especially the environment templates. Okay, so let's download everything. Oh, actually, I'm not going to do it this way. I'm going to clone it, but it's the same thing as if I have, for instance, downloaded the zip, extract the zip, and put it in a folder. But basically, we're going to go in this folder directly. So let me find my installation folder. Where I've put Webaverse. So basically, yeah, the initial installation steps of Webaverse, if you don't have these installed, up are these ones that you can find here. And basically, you just have to follow these steps, copy pasting into your terminal these steps, and you can install Webaverse this way, which is basically what we have at the moment in this folder. Oops. In this folder. So that right now I'm in the Webaverse app folder. So basically, it's like if I've done all of this, and I would basically be here with the exact same files. So now that I'm here, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to clone these Webaverse templates. I'm going to clone it. Let's say let's clone let's clone these here just for simplicity. Oh, permission denied. Okay. Well, let's just download it. What it was. So let's just download it as a zip file. Basically, I think that I have it. So I hope that in your end it works. But basically, yeah, these are the files to take. So you can, if you can't download it with the git clone, which was my case because of terminal issues, you can download it with like download zip as I do it. But let me do it with you. You would like extract everything somewhere, and you would take these two, and you will put it in your Webaverse repo, which me is here, but you, it can be at another place. But this is like the app repo. So I go inside, which is the same thing as doing this. You know, I do exactly the same thing here. Here's with the graphic, where here is the terminal. Here's the graphical interface. But I do the same thing. I just navigate. And once I'm here, I'm going to create a new file, a new folder. Sorry. I'm going to call it templates. I'm going to go there and paste what I have. So for the templates, okay. So now I can go into my Webaverse app, go into my editor. And so here I am this app, which is the same as the one I showed. And I'm going to go into the templates folder, which I can't see right now, but I need to do this, I guess. Yep, templates. So right now, so I go to the templates folder. And I see that here I have like the base scene. I have the environment template, and I can basically start doing something here. So I'm going to take this base scene. So initially, let's go in the scene. Let's take the file base scene.scn. And this file, I'm going to create a new scene that I will go in my scenes here, which is the real folder for scenes. I click a new file, and let's call it Weber Workshop. Let's say Weber Workshop .scn. I copy and paste the content that I have from the base scene. Okay, let's try now. Let's try to go on this scene. I'm expecting an error, but that's normal. I want to show you. So we just right now what we did is simple. We just added to the scene. We added the new scene. We just added to the folder. We didn't do any. We haven't done anything else. We just added it to the folder. And look, oh, I'm not in the correct scene, but maybe I can select the scene because maybe it's there. But as you can see, it's not there. So how can I make my scene appear there? Simple. I'm going to go in the file that is called scenes.json. And here you see you have this whatsup.scn, which is the same. So I'm just going to change. I could have several, but I'm just going to change it for Weber Workshops.scn. Okay, so now I go to Weber Workshop.scn and let's see what happens now. Oh, you're at work. I don't know if it will be uploaded on YouTube. Fed, is it recorded? I guess it's recorded. So I guess it should be available like in the next 2 weeks, for instance, on Web or Twitch, maybe. I'm not sure. I'll let Fed answer this. I don't know if you're here, but I'm going to ask you anyway. But basically, like, if you have any questions, if you want to know, like, if you have any question on the stuff that I've done here, it would be great if it is recorded. But you can always ask me things because all of the stuff that I'm saying is not overly complex. But okay, so what we see now is that it doesn't work actually, right? It doesn't work. So we have the Weber workshop, put it doesn't work. Okay, so what are we doing when it doesn't work? It's always the same process. Basically, we go into the console and we check for the various mistakes. So here, here as you can see, there's like an expected end of JSON out, JSON input. Okay, so we don't really know this mistake, what it is about. So potentially it's that the basin is corrupt. Let me just check something. Okay. I guess it's the exact same. No. Okay, let's try again. Okay. So here, yeah, the Weber workshop scene is not found, which is a bit weird, but I guess that's what we can do is that workshops are like this, not found. And since the JSON, oh, I put an S here. So my mistake was that when I've written like Weber workshops and not Weber workshop. So this is like the kind of dumb mistake that you don't want to make. But basically, when you're pointing to a file, you should have like the same exact file. Okay, so let's see now. Can we load the scene? Okay, so it seems that the scene is actually, we can load it. And so this is like the initial, the template scene that you can download here on my GitHub, which is Plateau's Webaverse template. So if you go on my profile on GitHub Plateau's and you go to Webaverse templates, you'll see this scene. What I've done right now is that I've just imported, I've just used this file, the base scene.sc, and I've used it. I've created a new scene file in Webaverse and I've put it here. And then in the custom assets, actually what you want to do is to take this folder, the environment template folder, and put it, and actually put it in a folder that is called custom assets environment template. So you want to have, so this is a step that is already done on, let me check. It seems I'm back again. Okay, perfect. Hello, Boma from the sauna. I am myself in a sauna as well. Okay, so what we do now is that so we are in this Webaverse scene, and if we want to modify it and change it to changes this scene, basically we're going to open it. And normally, if you have downloaded this, so let me go into assets, you can find like the Blender file that is here in Webaverse template main, custom assets, environment template, assets, and it's the scene that is here. Let me open it. Okay, so this is the actual scene that we're in. This is the actual scene that we're in. This is the exact same files. So actually it's not the exact same because here you have a cube that I certainly added, but it won't change anything. What we're going to do is that we're going to take this to show you that it's the exact same file, export it at GLB, and I want to show you, and I want to put it where I have actually put it my where I've put it my web app scene, which is here. It's in app and it's in I guess, custom assets, but let me check because yeah, it's in custom assets, environment templates. So it's in custom assets, environment templates. So it's here. And I can basically put this thing that I just exported. I'll put it in assets, scene.glb. I'll export right away. And normally I should see the change if I just let's say actualize. I don't remember the word. But yeah, so I don't reload the page. This is it. Okay, so basically I'm in this scene. So as you can see, this is the exact same thing. But you can find it pretty weird that it actually doesn't have any material. If you look at this floor, it doesn't have any material. While here, it's actually yellow. So question is, how has this floor become yellow? Well, it's not yellow here. And I'm going to show you something that is important to do in Webaverse, because if you want to have interesting, let's say, aesthetics, we want to be able to customize how the materials are rendered within Webaverse. We want to be able to customize this, so we don't want to do it directly in Blender, while we could actually, because we could, for instance, put textures with Blender. It's easier, something like this. But what we're going to do is that we're going to use Three.js to actually change the colors. And this is the first thing that I do in this scene. So if I go into custom asset and the actual environment template that is here, I have an index.js. And so this index.js, let me just check that it's the exact same as in the template, but I'm gonna make it the same as in the template. Up here. Okay, let me just take the exact same code as in the template so that we're sure. Oh, sorry, I mean English. Up. Let's check that it still works as is. Okay, it still works as is, and right now we have the same thing, but simplified. This is exactly the file that you have on my GitHub Webaverse templates. And this is where we actually can change the colors. We actually can change stuff, and we can actually have where we can actually have game logic that is added. And so the first thing that we can do, for instance, here you can see the plane. I can reference to the plane here, because what I do here is that I just look into every mesh, every object, sorry, that is in this scene.glb file. So this is the scene. I look at every object, and I look for one that has a name floor, has the name floor. So this has the name floor apparently. And if it has the name floor, I will apply a new material to it, and I will apply a mesh tune material with the color yellow. So let's pull the color red, and let's see what we have now. Okay, so we have a red plane. Great. So this is a way of to initially customize the scene. So let's add a cube now to the scene. Okay, so I want to add a cube. Let me go into French. I'm adding a cube. So I'm adding a cube. Okay. Whoop. Let me put this cube here. It's still called cube. It's perfect. Okay. So I'm going to export this exactly where it is in Weba. So in the Weba folder. Okay. So let's see now. We should be able to update. Once the setup is there, actually it's much easier, to iterate and have a workflow. So as you can see, like I can easily go from Blender to Weba, which is actually great. So we have our cube, and actually our cube, which is great as well, is that it has already physics. So you don't have like to put physics on it or something like that. It already has it because of the way that it imports the scene. So how does it import the scene? So this is done here. Basically here we import the scene with this function, so this asynchronous function, and this is in the same function in which we import the scene as in the function in which we like change the material. So when we import, we immediately change the material. And so this function, this cryptic asynchronous function, is actually pretty simple in what it does. Is that what we do is that we import the scene.glb file, which is the file that we are exporting from Blender. So we import this using this. So basically, looking for assets within the environment templates, looking for assets, and looking for the scene.glb file. And then from there, we do some JavaScript magic, and we basically import it. How do we import it? But before importing it, we change the material, and we do something which is adding physics, which is this line here. When I said like it automatically makes physics, it's not actually that automatic. You have to add these two lines to add physics. And in the end, you do this update matrix word that is needed to update all of the objects. So, this is kind of the way like you can learn to code as well, is that, for instance, you don't have to, what's best is to have like an initial ID of the, let's say, an initial ID of the lexicus, or I'd say the, like you should understand the various words, I'd say. But after this, you can take an example, see how the example actually works, and use this as a base to build stuff that you want to build. So you can actually use this stuff without an understanding actually anything of it, but just seeing what are the parts that you can modify. So for instance, you can modify this part. You would change the GLB file. You can modify these parts. So as you can say, I put it a red color, but you could put another color. I put it was yellow before. And yeah, so basically now we have a cube here, and we want to reference it. So let's reference it the same way as we reference the floor. So I do the same thing. I just add an if statement. So you can see that it's already one. Let me even copy this. I can copy this like this. I'm going to call this cube, because if the name is cube, and I'm going to put another color. Let's say purple. I save. And now my cube has become purple. So you have your code here, and you could do other things. If, for instance, let's do one thing that could be interesting. Let's move the cube. So let's say you want to move the cube. We're going to use another React hook that is called use frame. It has this Three.js hook with React 3 Fiber, which can be handy as well if you want to understand this better. Basically, it's Three.js, so JavaScript based, and React is great as well. A good resource to learn about this is something called Three.js Journey. This is not a lie. This is actually the best way to learn Three.js. The guy that has developed it is very good. I'm not doing his I'm not doing publicity for him, but I mean it's like the best course that I've encountered. What is great is that once you enroll, so it's not cheap, but once you enroll, you have access to all the courses and all of the updates that this guy makes, and he makes a lot of updates to the course, so it's really like a high value course, and honestly the best way to learn Three.js, because you can like learn this while learning, for instance, to do this stuff. and you would be able to understand what I'm doing much easier. And the actual ways he has of there's 70 hours of video. It's very well explained, and honestly, if you follow like the 70 hours of video, like you're very good at doing this stuff. And I didn't follow like the 70 hours, of course, which is why I say this. Yeah, I don't have like even to follow 70 hours. You can follow even like 5 hours and you'd be great to go on the basics. So that's why it's great. And okay, so we have this cube. Okay, so what can we do? Maybe we can move the cube. Okay, so let's move the cube. So we need to find the cube is already found, of course, it's this one. So now how can we actually move it? Okay, so let's do it. So let's create this use frame that I wanted to use. So it's used as a React hook, so you have to include a function in this. So this is explained in some courses on 3JS, especially the one that I just talked about. So you can't, so you put your use frame here. Let me check that this is actually the way that I do it up here. Okay, so this is the way, perfect. So I use frame like this. Let me just check another thing. Of course, that you have functions, so you need to put it into this brackets. Okay, so I'm using the use frame now, and what I'm going to do is that I'm going to use the cube. Let's say it's going to go cube. Oh, sorry. Of course, my cube actually doesn't exist right now, because what I've just did is that here I've just it exists actually, but I have no variable to reference it. So let's just create a variable for the cube. Let's call this cube. Cube equal what? I'm just going to equal. Maybe it's easier if I put it here up equal O. Okay. And so I have my so I have a way to reference the cube. Let me check. Always the thing that you want to check when you write code. You want to check immediately if it works or not, because you don't want like to have a bug that is somewhere that you have code written a long time ago and you can't see it again, and you don't remember what is the problem. And here, so we have done a reference for the cube. And here what we're going to do is that we're going to move its position. So let's say that do cube that position that x plus equal 0.1. So each frame, it will change the x position of the cube by 1. Oh, maybe I'm just going to do something before. Oh, I'm ensuring that the cube exists and is not undefined before. Oh, it doesn't work. What's happening? Cube is not defined. So this is actually what happens, because here if I do if cube, so I have to do this before. I have to tell let cube equal, let me, what was I doing before? Equal null, yeah. So let cube equal null. So basically you just define the object initially so that you don't run into this error. Oh. Okay, so it actually doesn't work. Okay, so why is my cube not moving while I have actually told him to change each frame? Okay, so maybe this each frame doesn't work. Okay, so let's go. Maybe the each frame doesn't work. Maybe I've gone a bit too far. Maybe it's all my use frame and each frame it doesn't do anything. So let's just try. I'm just logging something, and we'll see if it's my use frame. Maybe that's my use frame that has a problem. I don't know. Oh, it doesn't seem, because as you can see here, I have my use frame working. Each frame it's logging lol to the console. Okay, so my use frame works. Okay, so the use frame was not a problem. Okay, so what could be the problem here? What doesn't why is it not moving? Because actually I'm moving its position, so it should move, right? So basically what you have to do each time is always the same, is to update the matrix world. So this is something that we forget a lot, but once, but this is the thing that you always have to do when you modify its position or modify its rotation, stuff like that. You have to update matrix world, which makes, I guess it, since it updates position, it needs to update in every other variables, I guess. I don't know exactly what's the thing, but yeah, you need to update it if you want your cube to actually move, but it's still not moving. Okay, that's a bit, let me check something. Oh yeah, maybe it's just the app that I have to update actually. Let me just make sure of this. But yeah, I think up. So I hasn't looked at this scene in a long time. Okay, that's a bit fair. Maybe it's just that 0.20 and is just too small, but I don't think so. Maybe it doesn't recognize that I have a cube. But we're in bug fixing right now. Oh, it's pretty weird. Okay. So actually what's happening here is that, oh, that's cubicle null. That's the way. So I made a mistake here in the referencing, and it wasn't actually referencing the cube. So my mistake of the update metrics where it wasn't actually the real mistake. The real mistake was that it wasn't understanding what the cube was, where the cube was. This was actually what should have been looked. And here you see, oh, the cube is moving. The cube is moving. So basically my mistake was that because I had written const, I just had like created a new variable for this, which well, it was actually already defined. But basically, yes. So you see like the overall aspect and how this whole, let's say, this whole thing, let's say, works. As I said, I don't want to go too deep in the actual 3JS code, basically because it's been a long time. I haven't written for like web scenes exactly. This is a scene I wrote like a long time ago, but as you can see, like you can easily reuse the thing that you built and like see how it worked again. But basically, that's how it works. And using these base scene is great. Using this template is great because you can have like this workflow of adding stuff, moving stuff, adding stuff, and just having to, for instance, let's say I want to import something that that would have downloaded. Let's say I would have downloaded an asset, for instance, so it would be more. What? I don't know where it is. Too bad. Okay. Let's import a VRM, for instance, because I know where I can find some. And let me find a WASI in there, for instance. So I take a WASI. As you can see, we have actually produced the 3D VRMs. We are shipping these and making sure there's no problem that they are produced for the WASIs that are here. So basically, we take a WASI and let's say, okay, so I want this WASI to be in my scene as well. So actually, that's not how you should do it for characters, but this is a way to show you actually the way it works. So I just export it in GLB. the same scene with all of this, all of what's inside. I update. Basically, the whole virtue, let's say, of this workshop, of this workflow, is that you can like change the 3D elements easily in Blender, and you can like access this element after using 3JS and just having to save each time. And as you can see, we have some of a problem with the actual way it's rendered, because you don't want to render a VRM in this scene actually, which is why you don't want to do character this way, which is also why when we initially looked at this indexed, at this actual scene, so the what's up scene, the actual avatars, they were not actually uploaded in the scene, but they were uploaded outside because they have like their own way of being imported, and you don't want to import this using GLB as the same as in the as in there. So yeah. And but I show you that you can import easily assets and any type of assets. It's just that you need to be cautious when you want to import this the VRL, for instance, which are not made to import and imported there. And of course, after that, this is in the 3JS code that you define actually all the logic. And if we look in the WASF file that contains all of this logic, basically, you have several functions. For instance, this one to create the line that points at you. You have the function to check if the character is moving. And then after that, which is the most important, is that the state of the game is actually registered to a game state. And yeah, and this is where you actually import the scene. And when you apply various textures, so this is to apply, for instance, a texture that has the that has some WASI images on it. And here after that, you have all of the imports with the various if statement to point to the actual object. And yeah, you even have some audio. When you break the glasses, at one point you have some audio. So yeah, I think this scene is actually available on my GitHub. I'm not so sure. If you go in plateau assets, and if you go in what's up, here you actually have the scene. So if you want to look at it, test it, you have it there, and you can use after the templates for this. Okay, so I think that this was all for me. It was a pleasure to do this. I'm available, of course, if you have any questions. And yeah, it was a pleasure, and maybe see you on the next stream. I hope as well that it was not too cryptic and that you can get things out of it. But anyway, it will be recorded, so it should be possible to follow as well. See you guys. It was a pleasure.